Well, is the US working on a plan to charge us more for our AUKUS subs? That's what sources are telling Nine newspapers this morning, while Washington conducts a review of the deal. Joining us live now is Deputy Nationals leader Kevin Hogan, the Greens Senator Sarah Hanson-Young. Good morning to you both. A deal's a deal, isn't it, Kevin? How would you feel about shifting the financial goalposts?
Yeah, well, look, I agree, Pete. A deal is a deal. So this is obviously unsubstantiated reports at the moment. But, you know, if they're looking to put the price up or if they're looking for other conditions around this, obviously that's serious negotiations that have to happen. But again, Pete, let's talk about it again. What's the Prime Minister's insight into this? And obviously he would be doing these negotiations with the US President around these negotiations and around this deal. Has he had a phone call yet? Has he had any contact yet? And I'd say probably not. So we're on the back foot here. We know the tariff issues are going to be announced in the next day or two as well, and we just appear always to be on the back foot because of this hasn't been a priority for the Prime Minister. Very disappointing. Yeah,
there's no one on record for this article, Sarah, but you know, if the US did say, OK, we will continue this AUKUS deal, but you've got to pay more, should we cough up more?
Oh, look, this has been a dud deal for Australia since day dot. And this just really exposes that even further. And let's be clear, you know, the UK has done a review and an inquiry into AUKUS. The US are now doing a review. Australia isn't even reviewing or doing any type of rethinking of AUKUS. Meanwhile, the US is already starting to put up the flagpole that Australian taxpayers are going to have to pay more for it. And when we say more, let's not forget that the price tag that Australians are already paying is $368 billion. That's money that's coming off other services.
Well, there's already been a down payment too.
Education. Well, and there's already been a down payment. We've already coughed up the money. One of the reasons why this deal is a dud deal for Australia, notwithstanding all of the other issues about does it really make us safer in the region, is it antagonising to our neighbours, you know, what's going on there. But it's Australian taxpayers that are front-footing most of the cost up front. We're the ones putting the money on the table. Billions of dollars already, and now Donald Trump and his administration think that they can get more out of us. I mean, this is a shakedown, and from a guy who is clearly just out of control. I saw that letter that was released just in the last couple of hours, Pete, in relation to the Brazilian tariff deal. Donald Trump has belled the cat. This has got nothing to do with economics, nothing to do with what's in the interests of American people. This is all about Donald Trump trying to make political friends and make political statements for his corrupt mates.
OK, on that AUKUS deal, there's no one on record there, so, you know, their review is being undertaken. We'll see where that ends up. But let's get to those letters now, Kevin, your shadow trade role. Sarah pointed out Brazil got the latest tariff letter from Trump this morning, the biggest yet, 50%. We haven't got a letter yet. I mean, you'd suspect more time goes on, we're in the clear-ish, still at that 10% baseline. Do you feel like that's that?
Well, Pete, can I just go back? Because I think some of the things Sarah said there are quite important and quite dangerous. To say Trump is out of control and to say all these anti-American things, you know, might sound well in a Greens party room. But look, in the bigger picture here, America and the long-standing alliance we have with them is really important. I think AUKUS will outlive Trump. It will outlive Albanese and Steinmeier. But these are important negotiations, yes. Our national security is really important. AUKUS is a really important part of our national security. And Sarah also said we shouldn't antagonise neighbours. Our national security is more important to us than anyone else, and our sovereignty is more important, and that's a really important thing for us to keep going with. Yes, to the tariffs. Well, we saw, Pete, that the UK, Steinmeier again, got a carve out. Went over to see Trump, got a lower steel and aluminium tariff, slower than ours, because he's got a personal relationship and could do a deal. Our Prime Minister isn't. I don't think he knows what's going to be happening in the next 24 hours either. That's not okay. Obviously, Kevin Rudd hasn't helped. We've seen commentary out of the US over the last 2 or 3 weeks that he doesn't help the situation, given the very unprofessional marks he made about Trump as well. So, look, the relationship is not in a... I don't think the person-to-person relationship... We've had some relationships between Liberal and Labor Prime Ministers with US presidents that's been healthy, that has been good for the relationship. We obviously don't have that now.
But when it comes to the tariffs, and we saw yesterday the spike in copper, when it comes to tariffs, the spike in pharma, I mean, would it be your hope, and I noticed the comments from CSL this morning that they wish that the United States would target more hostile countries. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, look, and again, Pete, we were in government, we did the free trade agreement with the US 20 years ago. We got a carve out because we had a good relationship for farm, for the pharmaceutical benefit scheme. It's a really important part of our health system. I certainly support the government is that we can't compromise on that, and the pharmaceutical benefit scheme, very important to us, and support the government in pushing that. But again, this has to happen at leader-to-leader level. We seem to be running around in circles in the background with officials. We need a leader-to-leader conversation.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, to you now, Sarah, I mean, do you think all of this, when it comes to AUKUS or when it comes to tariffs, we still haven't had a meeting with Trump for this term? I mean, doesn't this put more pressure on the PM to try and get that done? I know he lucked out at the G7, but, does this put more pressure on him to get that done?
Look, I do think, obviously, the more Australia and Australian officials and government ministers and the Prime Minister engage with the US to try and, get some common sense out of these types of arrangements, absolutely. I mean, talking is important. But you also have to be realistic that the world order has changed under Donald Trump, and he doesn't play by the same rules. In fact, he doesn't play by any rules. He makes them up as he goes along. And the way he treats his friends and his allies should be a big warning sign to Australia that even if you got the Prime Minister into the room with him, would Australia really get anything out of it? And this is all about Donald Trump. I've said it before on this show, Peter.
Yep.
I mean, he is a media megalomaniac.
Oh.
That's what he's looking for, a headline, a reaction, the shock and awe. His dealings and his letter of demand to Brazil today just shows it's got nothing to do with economics or actually the specifics of trade. It is all about dirty politics for him and looking, he's sucking up. He's a wannabe dictator.
Well, but we're at the lower level.
To dictators.
Well, I've got to go, but I mean, we're at the lower level, 10% baseline. Have we got as good a deal as possible?
Well, I think a threat to our healthcare and medicines is a big line, and I'm sorry, but Australians care for and know that our healthcare system here is world class, and we don't want to go anywhere near sliding down the scale towards the US.
All right, Sarah, Kevin, good to see you both. Thanks again. We'll chat to you soon.